Welcome again, dear friends, to part number 6 of the 10 Commandments discussion here. And let me offer my obeisances time and again unto my spiritual master, Shri Gaurachandra, Srimati Radhika, her associates, and her holy abode, Shri Vrindavan, and unto Shri Krishna, his associates, and the devotees of his devotees. So we've been discussing the different levels of impetus for activities, depending on different moral understandings, etc. And we've been discussing level 1 and level 2, and now we've come to level 3, and that is post-conventional level. And here the impetus is the third basic force of nature, sattva, or purity and virtue. So in the first part of that, in point A, we have an orientation on the internal. And here there is a togetherness of the people which has a social contract, which is useful for the social community, but there is also the individual right. And the jurisdiction, the own jurisdiction, is based on inner feelings of right and wrong. So this requires a critical examination of any situation. One feels an obligation to one's view, worldview, paradigm, whatever, but it's not only the conventions and calculations of what one wants to achieve in the outside which lead to the decisions, but it is based also on the dignity of basic values. So the norms are being questioned and are only thought of as binding if they are well grounded, argumented for, and also still serve a purpose, a sense. Otherwise, these norms will be given up if they don't serve any purpose anymore. So that is that stage 3A. And in stage 3B, there is orientation on the universal principle. So the ability to decide is based on integrated universal principles that are rooted deep within oneself. It is more about the spirit of the law than the exact words or letters which are written there. And the orientation is no more on society's usefulness deliberations, but on higher principles. For example, it can be called the principle of how to translate that? The recognition of even-ranked interests, or in another word, universal brotherhood, sisterhood, which is not only recognizing one species, but a God connection of the whole creation. So the impetus for the right behavior is not anymore coming from outside, but from the inside, and the basis to act correctly is not anymore tied to one's own advantages. So the right thing will be done even if it would bring personal disadvantages with it. So the right behavior is investigated into on the basis of harmony with the own insights and universal principles. So this post-conventional thinking may also become an easily believed convention, and therefore it requires constant critical analysis or proof. It has to be checked again and again by the individual. So let me see. Put that a little bit up. Let us think that in. So we have seen here a development from egocentric to ethnocentric to theocentric perspective. And one can see and learn that norms, even religious norms, may be questioned. And it is also a development from personal drives of fear to enrichment up to a selfless motivation. That is not seeking any particular objective or goal. Religious moral, on the other hand, most of the time is a mixture of pre-conventional and conventional moral understandings. So in that case, God threatens the humans to punish them if they don't follow His commandments or transgress them. So He would withdraw His blessings. Or He would give His blessings if they were keeping His commandments. That's pre-conventional. On the same hand, at the same time, one tries to become a good believer and is under the bitings of one's consciousness due to guilt if one transgresses one of the rules. So the priesthood, in whatever religion it may be, they claim that the keeping of the commandments is necessary to keep law and order intact, and that's the conventional aspect of the moral. So these two objectives are not really looking for solutions to ethnic conflicts, which would be post-conventional, but they rely on tradition that, in their opinion, is holy and unquestionable. it is even necessary to remain on the fourth level of moral development to be able to keep a rank in a religious institution. So otherwise you couldn't function as a priest if you were going beyond that understanding, at least not in the way it is nowadays. So for any emancipated or enlightened God consciousness or particular Krishna consciousness that is supposed to be understood in our modern world, there is a requirement of new perspectives in the sense of a sixth level of the Kohlberg's pyramid, if you want, of development of consciousness. So we've gone beyond the 10 minutes again, and I will say a few words in part number 7. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your comments. See you in part number 7.